Cool. Yeah. Hello! Sorry. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Psycosmos. We're gonna tackle something a little different this time around in this episode. We're gonna talk a smidgen about some political happenings in the news, because it's been a hot week already.
Yeah, we're Americans. We want to discuss these. We want our voices to be heard.
You're an American?
Yes.
Dude.
I think I'm American.
Yo, sick, man. Nice.
All right. Yeah, there we go.
All right. For those of you who don't know, Monday, there was a hilarious little fiasco. At least it's kind of hilarious to me, because you gotta try to find humor on both sides of the aisle, you know. So Monday was the first in the series of caucuses / primaries for the Democratic Party, where I'm not sure of the exact mechanics, but voters go out and they get to, you know, narrow down all the different candidates or all the different potential candidates for the presidency for the Democratic Party. They didn't release results until, like, I think it was around 4 p.m. Eastern time the next day. There were no results released. The DNC, Democratic National Committee, they said it was due to a coding issue with this app that they were using, and they needed to just make sure that all the votes were correct, and they reassured everybody that everything's cool, it's fine, it's just a coding issue, we still have a paper trail, why are we bothering to tell you that? It kind of sounds like something you would, you know, like kind of jump the gun. But anyway, people were saying, I won, no, you're cheating, no, you're cheating, and so it's, you know, it's a whole big mess over there. People think that Pete Buttigieg cheated because apparently he had some hand and some money for this app. And my favorite part, just by the way, the name of this app, okay, Shadow Inc. So maybe
the irony.
It sounds so sketchy.
So hold on, Rich. You're basically telling me now that because this app has failed, all of these this spark of conflict has come out of it, where people are now just saying, "Oh, you cheated. This is wrong. Like this doesn't work."
Mama's wrong again.
No kind of saying it's you're wrong.
Who is this PN judge?
Mr. Pete Buttigieg is the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. I think he's from Indiana, and he's running for president, and he's gay. And the only reason I'm bothering to specify that because good for you, man. Like,
we could care less.
Like, I could care less, and I mean that in a good way.
Yes.
But that's frequently one of the things that's advertised about him, because that would be a milestone, to be fair, if we elected an openly gay president. He's a good talker, that Pete Buttigieg, at least in my opinion. I think he does well when he's on the stage. He's kind of got that Obama energy of just like we need to come together and solve these problems and have optimism and try to do something together. It's like you know, a lot of people tend to like that sort of thing. Yeah. So he ended up winning, actually.
Yeah,
as far as I know. I don't even know if all the results ended up coming out yet, because as of like yesterday, it was still like 75% last I checked. But it looks like he won Iowa.
Now, is this for the nomination?
No, this is so this would be for winning the Iowa State Caucus, and I'm not exactly sure how it works, but you need a certain amount of wins at these caucuses and primaries in order to win and get the candidacy.
Sounds like American Idol.
It kind of does, right?
Who's gonna win the next American
presidency?
Yeah. See, there you go. It's always America, you know, having to make everything Hollywood.
You know, it's kind of funny to see a group of people say that, like, we're awesome, we're so competent, everything's going awfully right now, and there's definitely some things that are going bad. And then they're like, but if you put us in the driver's seat, we're gonna fix everything. And they couldn't even do this caucus right. Their first one, just completely drop the ball.
Oh my god.
But it'll get better, right?
We'll see. They already said, guys, good news, we're not going to use this app for Nebraska. It's like,
that's good.
That's great.
That's
Glad you learned your lesson. It's called Shadow Inc. Like, come on. That sounds like a joke. That sounds like something you would make up to talk about how sketchy it is.
It sounds like something you would literally download off Pirate Bay when you were like 13 trying to find free music or something.
Like, why is a voting app called Shadow Inc? I don't understand. Is it supposed to be like you're anonymous? Like, you're a shadow voter.
In other news,
the impeachment is finally over, for better or for worse. probably for worse, no matter how you slice it. But it's over, and the Senate voted to acquit Donald Trump for both articles of impeachment. And there was only one Republican vote for one of the articles, the abuse of power one, and that was Mitt Romney. So what's your guys' take, just like in general, on this whole impeachment thing, from what you know about it?
I mean,
I don't know, like we don't have to get into like, did he do it or did he not do it? Because as far as I know, as far as everybody really knows, because there's no like hard evidence, I don't know.
yeah, it's hard to say, and honestly, there's certain aspects I feel of politics that maybe some people bend the rules a little bit. I'm not saying, and I'm not saying that Trump bend the rules. I'm not really even nor for or against him. I'm more indifferent, and I only say that because I don't follow politics to the degree that many of maybe other of my friends or fellow Americans do.
I think it was a waste of time. Time and resources wasted.
Hell yeah, man. Yes. Waste of time. Waste of everybody's time.
You know,
Also boring. And also just like first time, no crime. This is the first time there's been an impeachment and they haven't like linked it to an actual crime. And then I'm just so sick of how like two-sided everything is like with the news.
It's like they have to pick a side.
Yeah.
It's like, are you a Republican or are you a Democrat? And if you're not one of those, you don't matter to us.
The way everything went with this impeachment is because I don't mean to pick political sides, because I'm a lot like you when it comes to Mr. Trump. I'm more indifferent. I really don't like the guy on a personal level, but there are things happening in this country, such as the economy, a couple other things that are generally good for a lot of people, and it doesn't mean that it's 110% because of Donald Trump, but it's got to be at least in part because of some of the stuff he's doing. So I'm more indifferent.
Yeah.
But for this particular thing, it was so partisan, so political. There's no real hard evidence. There's just all this subjective language, and constantly, like in news articles and in statements from people that were leading the impeachment effort, it's just they're constantly making an assumption, this huge assumption in their head before they even say the statement. So they kept saying like, Donald Trump abused his power because he used his office to get a foreign political official to investigate his political rival. And it's like, okay. Like there's so many things wrong with it because no one's proved that. You haven't proven the intent. You haven't charged him with an intent crime like bribery or extortion, specifically because they couldn't prove the intent. He asked him to do investigations into people that he believed actually did something wrong, and there is definitely some sketchy things going on with Mr. Joe and Hunter Biden, which is probably why the Senate Intelligence Committee is going to look into them now. Woohoo. When he started efforts to look into having these investigations done, and he started his efforts into seeing what he could do to try to pressure Ukraine to investigate these people, because the president that he was asking and the people he was asking to do this were people that had campaigned on and that centered around this president that campaigned on, we're going to root out corruption in Ukraine, which was a huge problem for them. Yeah. So it's totally legitimate for him to be like, you got this kid who's getting paid like tens and tens of thousands of dollars to sit on a gas company board in Ukraine, and he's got no experience. He's never done something like this before, and the only link is that he's got the last name Biden. And this is around the same time that Joe Biden did something very similar to Donald Trump, where he basically told Ukraine, you're not going to get loan guarantees unless you do something about this particular group that is using this particular prosecutor to investigate Burisma. That sounds like it'd be pretty bad if he did that. It sounds like maybe he should have been held accountable for that, but only when Donald Trump does it.
Jeez. Sounds like a fiasco.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's no wonder I don't understand half of it. It's ridiculous, and I think even before, we've mentioned a few times here now, is the whole identity politics behind it. The whole, like you said, you're either on this team or you're either on this team, and if you're not, like, you're nobody. And to me, it's just like, most of America is probably right there in the middle, though, so
there's a lot of independents.
There's a lot of people that are like that, so you can't just say, oh, I'm going to throw out, a majority of these people, and their opinions and thoughts on these matters. So.
People are getting sick of the two-party system.
Yeah.
Because again, they're really starting to realize that it's like, you know,
it's almost like it's an archaic system that is outdated, and that we need more term limits.
It's almost like they're using us to give this false sense of choice. It's like you pick red, and like things don't get in your mind, things don't get better, and like a lot of time they don't, and then you think, wow, this is totally different. I'm gonna vote blue next time, and you vote blue, and it's like more or less like your life kind of stays pretty the same. And then you think then you think the same thing. Oh my God, I think nothing got better. I'm gonna vote for red next time. Just back and forth. There's people saying the same things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people do better than other people.
Brainwash.
Overall, with this impeachment thing, for me, it was just a giant political stunt. And no matter what you think about Donald Trump and whether or not he did this, because you're totally valid to have those opinions. And in my mind, there's enough evidence that you can make the case one way or the other. But this entire impeachment process, nothing about it was objective, nothing about it was reasonable, nobody was going into it like, we're going to look at the facts in a fair and accurate way. None of this happened from the get-go.
It's literally no wonder people look at at least I think our generation's kind of waking up a little bit. It's no wonder we look at the political system and go, like, why does it look like a reality TV show half the time?
Because it is.
Why do people suck so much at your jobs?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
In other news.
So this way, maybe we could kind of end it on a silver lining. Let's just get this out of the way. The fact that after Trump delivered, which I watched the whole State of the Union yesterday. From what I saw, and I didn't go back and check all the facts yet, but I read a little bit. I think you filled me in on some, and I trust your word.
As far as I know, a lot of the stuff about the economy doing well and unemployment being really, really low, specifically like lowest it's ever been for at least a few demographics of people,
is indeed accurate.
It's awesome.
So let's get this one little tidbit out of the way. After he delivers this speech, Nancy Pelosi had gone and just done the good old rip, which I think is becoming a meme, and as you said, it backfired already.
Oh my God, so hard. Because like, I don't understand how you make a case that wasn't something childish to do.
Yeah.
She said like it was preferable. It was nice compared to the alternatives. And it's like, what are the alternatives? How about just like sitting there and being upset about it? Like that's a good alternative, right?
Yeah. And I guess like the silver lining in this would be all like, and throughout the speech, it was very nice to kind of see. There were certain things that our president brought up in regards to military families going through some heartaches, and they were getting some help, and he also brought up a school funding program that would give more opportunity to people of lower income, and there was this young girl and her mom who were there. It's a single mother, and she was able to get her child to go to whatever school like she wanted to go in, and to kind of see everyone in that room stand up and clap for like those moments definitely kind of was, I think, the silver lining in all of this. So
if we ever get to a point where we're not going to all universally stand up and clap for like a kid having their dreams given to them, then we know that we've hit a very dark place.
Yes.
I like the ripping up of the speech. I find that really funny.
Tell us, go ahead, Rich.
You gotta find some humor in these things, otherwise you're gonna just be depressed and you're gonna go crazy. And apparently this also started with like she went to shake his hand, and like some people are saying he was already turning away, but whatever. He just like snubbed her, just didn't shake her hand, and I'm like, I don't like that. Like, the way I was raised, like, I probably would have shaken her hand anyway, even though I really don't like her. Mm. But on the other hand, like, this is the lady who literally impeached you, and so forevermore, you are President Trump, the one who got impeached. So, like, whether or not you think it's justified, it's like, in his mind, I can understand if I was him.
Yeah.
And just think for a hot second, hypothetically, if he didn't deserve to be impeached, and he's looking at her and was like,
he just goes like this. He goes, "You can't handle this."
No. You can't handle it.
My favorite thing about the ripping up the speech, okay? Because she's like, I gotta do something. I gotta not make a scene, but I gotta do something. I have to send a message, right?
Yeah.
So she rips up his speech, right? Which is fine. It's childish, whatever. But you would think because the spirit of this is like, basically, pardon my French, you, Mr. President, this entire speech is a bunch of bull. But I've seen the pictures, and she doesn't even do it to his face. His back is to her because he's standing in front of her. She can't even do it to his face. She can't even just actually look him in the eye and rip up his speech.
She did it just so everyone else would see it.
Just for the cameras.
Yeah. Which is understandable, but like you said, it's kind of a childish move.
Oh, it's you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh a little bit at it. I mean, come on. What's going on anymore? Overall, whatever, like, let us know what you think. If you'd like, however comfortable you are with just politics in general, your opinion on all this stuff. Because as far as all of us don't speak for people, we're pretty independent and we have strong opinions about certain things. As you can tell, I'm not particularly a big fan of the Democratic Party, but that's really because of more so what they're doing right now. Not because of like a deep hatred for them or anything like that. There's some people on the side that I really like Pete Bridget. He's a nice guy. You should like listen to him talk sometimes. I don't agree with anything he thinks politically at all, but he's very good at talking, and I think he's a halfway decent person with an okay message. And the same goes for Bernie Sanders too. Don't agree with anything about them politically, but they seem like halfway decent fucking people. That's pretty good. So that's our message. Just be halfway decently good people, and it doesn't matter what you think politically, and it shouldn't. And that's the problem right now.
And keep an open mind. Keep an open mind.
That's all. Everybody thinks different things.